Okay, so we are back with the
Yeah.
reading of Yoga and the Dark Night of the Soul with Radio Yoga Beyond the Mat. And we are now entering a very esoteric section of the Gita, which is the Bhakti Yoga. We've
Mhm.
covered a beautiful journey. We've kind of understood Karma Yoga. Understanding and practicing is two different things. But yes, we've also understood that Karma Yoga done with knowledge and discernment is what Krishna is prescribing as a manual, user manual for living in this world and doing our duties. And that discernment can be developed by remembering who we are, our true identity as a spirit soul, also distinguishing between ungodly and divine qualities, and also, of course, knowing the terrain and how the modes affect us. So, in short, Gita is giving us the knowledge to let go, because if we are centered and understanding our true identity as a soul, we can act in the world, which is to live well and reposition our lifestyle to live well through Karma Yoga philosophy. But one esoteric element of the Gita, which is Bhakti Yoga, is the hidden jewel between these two lids of a jewel box. And we'll unpack that in the next few sessions. And then we'll close the book with reflections. Okay, so far in the journey, any reflections? What has been good for you? What has really helped you understand yourself better, people better?
So
Or
what I think, a lot of lessons, is definitely helped me understand myself better. That you need to know your true nature, and the whole concept of selfless service. And I think I am able to see things in a better perspective. And of course, the learning of the further down the journey of how
Hmm.
to discern, and then how to distinguish between the godly and the ungodly and everything. All these have been very true life lessons. And but I can feel something, a change inside me, in the sense I'm feeling more grounded.
Oh,
Yes.
amazing! So that's what it is. It's a book of transformation. It's not a book of knowledge. Many self-help books give you some knowledge or life hacks, but this
Mhm.
gives you transformation from inner to the outer sort of
Mhm.
presence. And Bhakti Yoga will actually bring it all home.
Okay.
So that'll be really cool. Uh, so yes, we've had so many problems, right? But if we start looking at problems as gifts,
Mhm.
we walk this journey, and then we start asking the right questions. So the quest is basically to ask the right questions and find the right source of information, which Gita essentially gives us uh, as the book. And we've kind of seen that in our previous sections about the mind, because how the Gita is growing is from understanding ourselves, understanding what success means, and then moving towards what's hindering our progress. How does the mind work? How do energies flow within us? So many things that we've covered so far bring us to this point that can we really control the mind? Yes, it can be. It's like in a browser, but it's really tough to continually sort of refresh our homepage, what we like as favorites, which might be actually pulling us down from our true nature. But yes, like the mind, if we integrate it to a higher purpose, we instead of the browser being attached to lower qualities, if we link it to a higher purpose, our refreshes would lead to our growth in spiritual life, which is basically a complete life, essentially, not just differentiated from our day-to-day action. So there are two things that happen. Our inner browser practice, such as this. One second, someone else is joining, so I'll let them in. Okay. So with practice and with letting go, discernment, we can stabilize our mind. However, Arjun, in his discussion with Krishna, says that it's really difficult for me. And that's an honest admission by a friend to another friend. So I think confiding Gita and most of our darshan shastras are a dialogue, a conversation. And it really shows the reciprocity as well as the personal nature of learning darshan shastras. It cannot happen in the void, or it cannot happen with just someone giving you the concept of merging with the void. It really, this whole world is designed as a relationship. It's the harmony cycle which is maintained because of our relationships. And hence, Bhakti Yoga brings us to a personal aspect of divinity, which is reciprocal in different rasas and bhavas. But I think to move on, we'll address some of these things as we go. So my question would be, how do we define love, right? Like, how do people say what love is? Any thoughts? What is your definition of love? What
Oh,
is love to you?
how means compassion, understanding, feelings for the other individual. And, I would say,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, also a kind of matching of mental wavelengths, and I think compassion and feelings are important words for that.
yeah, exactly. It's wonderful. But then if you become more creative and think about how love is sold in the world, right? With the
Mhm.
idea of what love is,
Mhm.
market. Some people say it's the biggest marketing campaign
Yeah,
ever.
of course, it's sold as cards and gifts and flowers and
Yeah,
good
all the
food.
advertisements are also like very emotionally charged
Yeah,
these days.
yeah.
So there's that play. It's,
Mhm.
or even some people say love is being 100% vulnerable to someone.
Mhm.
Yeah. Or some people say, uh, I'd rather love someone than be in love with someone, because being in love with someone implies that you can fall out of it.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot of people have said, or it's just very physical or emotional. So
Yeah.
essentially, what we see is, how the Valentine is sold as, or rather, the culture of Valentine is not really promoting true love, but it's only at the physical attraction level. For most young people, that's what Valentine Day really ends up meaning. Of course, I mean, I might be looking at it from a very specific marketing perspective as to how what it's being, how culturally it's now perceived as. But yeah, I'm sure there are people who really believe in the idea of true love and express it more during Valentine's Day. But as we learn in Bhakti Yoga, it doesn't have to have a special day. It's unconditional, it's uninterrupted, and spontaneous. That is true love. So we don't need a Valentine's Day to really remind us of what we need to do. Very often, yes, emotional attachment is considered as love. If I get that emotional connect with someone, I will feel loved, or I would want to give love. If not, then I am, going to move my own way. So it's in a way a kind of selfish love, when we look at the body and the mind level attachments that we have from that relationship. And we have unconditional love, or rather, when we, even physically we like someone, we want biological reciprocity in some sense. Emotionally, also, likewise, we want that give and take. Spiritual love goes beyond it. It has, every relationship has a vision as to how we can grow together. And at the highest level, if you're a married couple, the vision to grow spiritually together is what will really change the equation of your relationship. So then the vision has to be activated. So you need to understand the roles that you play in each other's lives. So what do you do to support spiritual growth of your spouse partner is the role that you have. And then finally, of course, the acts that you do to fulfill that vision together is the goals that you set for yourself. So we run a small group where we meet on Saturdays, and these are kids. We teach the Gita for kids through interesting Mahabharata stories and Srimad Bhagavatam stories. And the mothers have joined now. Fathers also, some of them have started attending some of those sessions. And as husband and wife, Preeti and I, we want to sort of have a vision for that group, that we don't want to expect anything. We don't want to judge people, but we want to just offer them this curriculum in an unconditional way, lovingly, create a process where they are all involved. And so it's like a potluck, they bring food, it's all organized. So someone's very excited about organizing things, so they do that. Someone suggests interesting activities or even kirtan or particular bhajan that we should sing before the class. So it just kind of organically grows. And our vision is to let people, express themselves fully. And that makes it a beautiful sangha or community gathering. So that's a vision for our group, but role. So I have specific roles to make sure that the Saturday event is well planned. I become the master of ceremonies, whereas Preeti, my wife, she's more of the teacher in charge, let's say, specific nuggets, wisdom nuggets, stories is something she directs the kids into. And our goal is to, grow together with this entire group, which is which is so spiritually charged, and we are learning so much from them. Even though we feel we've read the Gita, but actually it's the practice which we see in others who might not have read the Gita in this lifetime, but the knowledge of the Gita is in them and the form of Paramatma. So yes, this is a very interesting view of how to look at relationships. Any thoughts when we look at relationships at work or at home, or even when we are doing volunteering activities? Is this framework universal, you think?
This framework, say, your marriage or your family. At work, I mean, hardly would you have any emotional relationships. Yeah, you can be friendly and you work in a spirit of cooperation or whatever. But I don't think the spiritual part would be there or whatever. So, yeah, um, I don't think, I mean, there is love involved there. There's more.
Yeah. So by design, the definition of love doesn't, uh, you know, sit right in a corporate setting, which is competitive
Yeah.
and where you have to achieve a lot of material goals.
Yeah.
So to have this mindset, even when you're there, while achieving those goals for the company, is your day-to-day behavior with people, is your culture that you're building. So yes, of course, you have to be achieving the company's goals, but how do you internally, people know that you have these qualities is something which will help. Okay, moving forward. So I'm going to read from the book again. So having heard these teachings, Arjun still not at peace. Krishna then offers Arjun a more uh, advanced definition of yoga, the unwavering offering of love. He advises Arjun to make his entire life a work of devotion. And then he talks about a yogi or yogini uses love and devotion to reawaken her natural connection with the soul of the universe. This practice is called Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of offering love. Krishna gives many Bhakti teachings to Arjuna and then summarizes them in three sort of stages. One is engage your heart in your yoga practice, widen your circle, and the third is write your story with love and compassion. So this beginning of part 5 of this book is interesting because it summarizes the next 3 chapters, short chapters, but very deep chapters very easily. And then he talks about Arjun's dilemma that, okay, it's very hard to control the mind, and that's something we covered, that with practice and feeding it with the right things, abhyas and vairagya, we can steady our mind. But during a very difficult moment or a dark night of the soul moment where life loses meaning, it definitely is difficult to even practice and vairagya and also do the practice of controlling the mind. So uh, Arjun ends up saying it's very difficult for me. I think controlling the mind is even tougher than controlling the wind, or as difficult as controlling the wind. Pretty much impossible is what he ends up concluding. Krishna agrees. Even if controlling the mind is possible with the practice, more potent than the mind, however, is the heart. By engaging a heart in our yoga practice, Krishna explains we can overcome even the greatest obstacles on our yoga path. So this is where I feel the idea of vision, role, goal is important, because uh, how do we engage our heart is uh, something that we can deliberate upon, contemplate upon using this model. When we have these true relationships that we want to nurture, the physical body and biological needs and emotionally needs where we want something from people can be overcome by true love, with a spiritual love. And this is highlighted that fact that Krishna and Arjuna are good friends. So, and Arjuna is willing to confide in him. I think that also shows that the vision Krishna has for Arjuna to be in battle. So when you say that, in corporate world, it's difficult to practice, uh, that's something as we go in this bhakti yoga sections, we'll realize that no, it's all integrated. And what does that really mean? We'll unpack, because right now we're just looking at it from uh, objectives of the company. In this case, Arjun also had to fight this battle which he didn't want to, and he felt that it will not help him grow spiritually. So their deep friendship highlights the importance of a connected heart in yoga. Then he talks about the second teaching of love, which is widening your circle. So first is the relationship is really important. The vision, role, and goals in the relationship have to be very clear. The second is we need to widen our circle, where we have equal vision at the level of soul without judging and exploiting people. So I was going back to our own small group where we meet kids on Saturdays. I mean, if we have our narrow vision that, okay, I want this from this person, or I want to exploit, someone's position or title, then I'll be kind of tinged in the way I look at my service, right? I'm just there to do the spiritual teaching role, and I would want to move on from there. And sort of help people understand the quality of spiritual wisdom and how to apply it in their lives, instead of having my own, needs sort of expressed or desired. As Krishna explains, one who sees everyone's happiness and suffering as if it were his own, Arjun, is considered to be the highest yogi. So to widen your circle will happen automatically if one does this together, as in one's a combination of without judging and exploiting, and being para dukha dukhi and para sukha sukhi. So really bring your heart and be empathetic when people are in pain or people are rejoicing. It's just a simple thing. That's how you widen your circle, because people want to hang out with you, right? If you have these qualities, if you're not exploitative, you're not judging, you are there for people. So simple formula, how to win friends and influence people, but influence people to come to bhakti is the goal. But how do we culture a love like this? Now, it cannot be just out of thin air. That's why Sankhya Yoga, so far, whatever we've covered is very important, which is remember who we are, understand the terrain, which is the modes of nature, and also distinguish between the divine and ungodly sort of qualities. So before we reach the stage of this divine love, we need to know Sankhya Yoga. So mastering all this is critical. Without discernment, our love is conditioned and founded on many misunderstandings and false identifications. This is because it is love within the limitations of a small human story. We could call it small love. And finally, of course, we move to the last part of this, which is understanding lust versus love. Uh, it's lust is all about taking, expecting. An interesting story is where you like a flower, you would want to pluck it. But when you love a flower, you would want to nurture the plant so that it blooms for many years, these beautiful flowers, which can then be offered to the source of all creation, the soul of the universe. So that takes us to the last part of the summary of Bhakti Yoga. And then, of course, we'll dive into each of these three sections. Um, so after we widen, how can we give to others what we don't yet possess? Krishna takes this one step further. He advises Arjun to direct his love inward, as far inward as possibly can, to the sacred source of his being, soul of the soul, rather than direct our love first to our body, which is just a vehicle, or to our mind. We can direct our love to Krishna, the soul of the soul, and the source of consciousness seated in the temple of every being. Now, here the concept of Krishna is highlighted, right? So people who are not familiar with, why have a name for divinity, or we have some other name for divinity, that's fine, absolutely okay. But the idea is Krishna as a word means all attractive, and it's in a way something that leads us to uh, really feel that harmony cycle of the universe, and there's something that keeps it together. So the soul of the universe is something which is attracting everything and keeping everything in service or maintaining that harmony cycle. And so that word is Krishna. Okay, now, of course, Krishna is also a real person. In this case, he's giving us this user manual, and there is so the Shraddha that we bring to the table becomes a lot more real when we know the Leelas of Krishna and all like forms of Vishnu. So it's really a very powerful shift in understanding Bhakti Yoga, and Vishnu, Narayan, Krishna are the teachers of Bhakti. So their Leelas teach us about Bhakti because they too have a vow to unconditionally, unmotivatedly, uninterruptedly serve the whole of the universe. So, and Arjun also then realizes that his goal is to do this loving service. So, yeah, I'll end here. We'll probably pick it up from the fact that the Sankalpa chapter, which is the last chapter of the book, is really powerful. It just gives us a specific way to have a resolve and vow to promote bhakti. Any thoughts, concluding thoughts, and about the next chapter if you've read it?
No, I haven't read the next chapter, but now I'm getting the sense with this chapter that we are actually getting into, we've set the background, the tone about karma yoga and everything, and now we are actually getting into bhakti yoga, which is going to detoxify our mind and, soul. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Wonderful. So yes, it will expand us in our spiritual understanding of this topic, and this love will spread to everyone, including the colleagues who we often have issues with at office. Okay, take care then.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.